Alright, welcome to the video for lesson number 1 in Unit 2. So in Unit 2 we're going to talk about all these different transformations. There's going to be a little bit less vocabulary, but more things for you to kind of remember, like all the rules for the reflections and rotations and things. So there's still a decent amount of studying involved in Unit 2. So let's take a look at number 1. Number 1 asks which of the following points would be invariant if reflected over the y-axis. Invariant means unchanged. So this point is not going to change. So when I reflect over the y-axis, we're going to take the point xy, and it becomes the negative x comma y coordinate. So essentially what I'm looking for is which of these points would, if I change negative x, remain the same number. So if I reflect this, it becomes negative 9, 0. Well, that's different. If I reflect this, it would become negative 8, 8. Well, that's different. If I do this, well, what's the negative of 0? Well, that's still 0. That's going to be my answer. Because the last one, if I reflect, becomes positive 2, negative 2. Number 2 says, determine the coordinate of k prime, the image of point k, after reflection over the line y equals x. So y equals x says to just kind of flip-flop the x and the y value. So k prime becomes the coordinate 32, comma, negative 16. For number 3, it says, if point H is located in quadrant 1, then what quadrant would H prime be, the image of H after the reflection of the x-axis be located? So if I reflect something that's in quadrant 1 over the x-axis, it's going to be down here in quadrant 4. Doesn't matter where in quadrant 1 it is, it's still going to go into quadrant 4. Number 4, it gives us a triangle ice. So I have 3, 3. 6, negative 1, and 4, 7. Kind of an odd looking triangle. So I, C, E. If you have one, please use a straight edge here. I don't have a straight edge on this computer, so we'll just try our best. That looks pretty darn good. So it says, state and plot the coordinates of triangle ice, the image of, or I prime, C prime, E prime, the image of triangle ice, after reflection of the line y equals 0. This is a fancy way of saying the x-axis. So if I reflect this over the x-axis, point I prime, to reflect over the x-axis we negate the y value, so that becomes 3, comma, negative 3. 3, negative 3. C prime, well, that's going to become negative 6, negative 1. No. Sorry. 6, positive 1. And E prime is going to become 4, negative 7. So we have 4, negative 7. Connect your points using a straight edge. And notice the two triangles slightly overlap each other. Totally fine. That's why I used different color. It then says describe the transformation above. Now when I describe something, we have to use good math vocabulary. So I know that this transformation is a rigid motion. That preserves size and shape. It's also a opposite isometry because the orientation changes. Let's look at number 5. It says state the coordinates of image P after reflection of the line y equals 2. So for this, the easiest way to do it actually is to graph it. So if you have a piece of graph paper handy, that'll work, or you could even just use a piece of graph paper that we have in lesson 1 that we didn't use. Alright, so if I'm reflecting something over the line y equals 2, I'm just going to kind of sketch it here. So let's just think about this. So y equals 2, well that's a horizontal line, so that would be like this line here. y equals 2. If I have the point 38, great, it'll be up here somewhere. To reflect over that line, well, it's going to be 6 units vertically away from here, so I'd have to go 6 units down. If I go 6 units down from 2, I would be at -4. So P prime is going to be the coordinate 3, -4. If you could do that mental math like I did, awesome. If not, just grab a piece of graph paper, graph it up, plug in your points, and figure out where they go. So if that's 3, 8, count your boxes, and then come down here, count your boxes, and figure out where it goes. Right? Nothing crazy here. You just have to kind of count some boxes. Number 6 is the same thing. So if we just make a quick sketch, x equals 8, that's a vertical line. So x equals 8 would be like here. The point -2, 6 is over here. Well, that's going to be 10 away from this line, so if I go 10 in this direction, I'm still at a height of 6, but if I go 10 from 8, I'm at 18, 6. So this point is going to be m prime, which is 18, 6. The sketches are just easier because you need a big piece of graph paper to graph something like that. And, you know, what if I made it so that the line was x equals 81? You'd have to be able to kind of mentally do this. All right, but again, if you're struggling with the mental part of it, just graph it right on graph paper. It'll totally help. Hopefully this video helps. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll hit up lesson 2 on Monday.